Okay, we're live. What time is it? 5 to 11. Uh, this live stream is going to have a finite. Hold on one second. It's going to have a finite lifespan because I couldn't find the cable or the power cable for my computer. So at the very least, we'll have like a hard 1 hour cutoff for the stream. Yeah, it's a short notice stream. And what else am I going to do? I'm not going to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep now, even though the kids are asleep. 10:55. I can't go to sleep because I'm too frustrated to sleep. Actually, I just dropped something. Hold on. Oh yeah, I dropped a little doll. Where's the other one here? I'm in my office, so I have ice cream, which is not real ice cream. Sprinkles, which are not real sprinkles. They don't come out. Okay, how's everybody doing here? This is good. Now I'm going to get to go through some of these notifications, or not notifications, comments properly. Yeah, so I can't go to sleep. I'll go to sleep. I will not fall asleep for another hour. I'll wake up every hour and a half, frustrated, angry, concerned, nervous. And then I'll fall back asleep. I'll wake back up, and it'll go through the same cycle 4 or 5 or 6, not 6 times, 4 or 5 times a night because my sleep cycle is an hour and a half. Okay, first of all, how's everybody doing? Because I have not been checking in, and I do apologize. It's not out of lack of concern, and it's not out of fatigue. It's just distraction. Things are frustrating right now. Hip Hop Thinker. Let's start. Okay, so while everyone streams into this 11 o'clock live stream with 10 minutes notice, we got Laura Cour says, hello, bonjour. Hello, bonjour. Bonjour, hello. Kilo Wolf says, pretty late vlog tonight. Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I was going to do another video today, but there's no time. There's no time. And it's like, it takes effort to do it. Big effort. Dirk, I have always loved that avatar, not knowing what your avatar is. YouTube has so far failed to notify me for this live stream. Fortunately, I was just checking my feed. It was a short notice for this live stream anyhow. So I wouldn't fault YouTube for that. Flat Earth Data says these politicians and government bureaucrats are removing our civil liberties at the false inform. I think I know what you mean. Oh, okay. Let's see here what we got. Okay, yeah, frustration. So let's. So I discuss things with people, and just what a cryptic way of describing it. I have one of my good friends started this clinic. It's called what's the clinic called? Mindspace. It's like a mindfulness wellness clinic, whatever. Kid that I've known from elementary school. If he's watching this, he's going to know who I am because he stole my girlfriend in grade 3. We know who she was. I know what you did. I'm not going to give anybody's initials. He stole my girlfriend in grade 3. Never forgot it. But I know who this guy is, and I see him in the park because we have kids. Except I don't see him in the park anymore because the park is closed off with yellow tape, danger tape. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so talk with him, and I talk with other people, and someone passed on a concept which I have grown to be in love with: fractal wrongness. And it's the idea that every decision you make is wrong, and not wrong in the sense like deliberately wrong, as in even by the odds, your decisions could not be that wrong, even if you flipped a coin. And so there has to be something in the judgment that causes your decisions to be consistently wrong along more probabilities than just random wrongness. That's the thing. It's like you have random wrongness and you have fractal wrongness. Random wrongness is okay. You make your mistakes. A broken clock is right twice a day. Fractal wrongness is like the clock that loses a second every day, and so it's always wrong. Fractal wrongness has been in my head a lot these days, and a lot over the last month. Flat Earth Data says, no mask, WHO backwards nonsense, virus, sneeze. No, that's it. No, it's because wearing a mask, even if you are the most, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat, Flat Earth. Wearing a mask, even if you are the most ignorant, gullible person on earth, who would think that not wearing a mask does something, whereas not wearing a mask doesn't? And that is to say, if you wear a mask, basic logic would dictate it does something more than not wearing a mask. And when someone comes out and tells you wearing a mask does nothing more than not wearing a mask, that's like telling me that wearing underwear, let me rephrase this, not wearing underwear does nothing more than wearing underwear, when at the end of the day, I'm looking at the inside of my pants and saying, yeah, I don't need to be a scientist to know that that's silly talk. So no. Someone telling me, I can appreciate, even if it's negligible, even if it's infinitesimal, wearing a mask necessarily does something more than not wearing a mask. And when someone tells me it doesn't, I don't need to be a doctor or a PhD to know that that's suspicious, or at the very least, I'm suspect of those recommendations. And fractal wrongness. It's just an element of fractal wrongness. Gosu says, you hear no more 3M masks for Canada. I know we in the US want to take care of our own needs before exporting PPE, but Canada is our bay. Well, I mean, we'll see. This is another element of fractal wrongness. Is just like fractal wrongness when it comes to pandemics. And I may have just said too many words now for this video to be monetized after this stream. Fractal wrongness, people making predictions and making models. We think that science is somehow different than the science of the market. And when people tell you what stocks to buy, and when the experts and when the academics and when the people with the degrees come in and say it's a bullish market, by the time they tell you it's a bullish market, it's a bear market. And by the time they tell you it's a bear market, it's a bullish market. And by the time they tell you to buy a stock, it's time to sell it. And by the time they tell you to sell a stock, it's time to buy it, because you are always chasing a falling knife when it comes to these things. And that's fractal wrongness when it comes to these models of predictions. Is they're always behind the curve. And I said it on Twitter. It's like you can see it in real time playing out like a slow motion train wreck. Everybody, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I can tell, the predictions, the models are always behind the curve. And there's always an explanation for why they're behind the curve. And there's always an explanation for why they're inaccurate. Oh, they're fluctuating. They vary by the hour. If the models vary by the hour, why do you give models that dictate policy, as in Virginia, for the next 2 months? Ooh, I might be getting angry. Tonight. If the models vary by the hour and by the day and by the information, how do you rely on those models to dictate policy for the next 2 months? It's fractal wrongness in that every decision that is being made is the wrong one at that point in time. And not to say it's the wrong one had it been 1 month earlier or 1 month later. Just, you can see it. You can assess it as things go along. And I'm having this ongoing discussion with a friend of mine who, has been irked and has been concerned and has been spooked by the models. And like, oh, by this time, there's going to be X, Y, and Z. Not by this time. Oh, it's because of, or, oh, wait another couple of weeks. And who knows? The other thing is, what am I? I'm neither an expert nor a politician. I'm just an idiot who's supposed to sit here and take the experts' advice as gospel, and then when it doesn't come true, find a reason for which it didn't come true, which is really more akin to religion than science. In the same way, like with the markets, like, oh, yeah, buy the stock now, hold. When a freaking investment fund tells me it's time to hold a stock, it's time to sell it. And when they tell me it's time to buy it, let me rephrase this. You know where I'm going with this anyhow. When they say it's time to buy, it's time to sell or maybe hold. When they say it's time to sell, it's probably time to hold, maybe even buy. It's just the question of like, okay, so that's the rant. That's the first part of the rant. People want answers, but things are so dynamic. The answers are about 12 hours late. There may be no answers. There may be no answers. And then the question is, what do you do? And then the ultimate question is, when does the cure become worse than the illness? An idiot like many of us. No. I mean, what am I? Who am I? Who am I to dare disagree with the experts? I'm a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I don't dictate policy. I'm not a scientist. And so I'm just supposed to say, I'm not supposed to have an opinion of my own, but I can observe things on my own. Google censored an email from my outbox the moment I sent it to you, wondering if it was received. Also PM in Facebook about a big Google China lawsuit. JT, I think I remember seeing an email to that effect. Which email would you go with? You could do David at vivafrei.com or David at freiheitlegal.com, but give one or the other. But if it's legal advice, I'm not answering questions, but I don't think this is legal advice or legal questions for me. But try to send it again. I do get a lot of emails, so sometimes they do slip through the cracks. No, so I'm waking up in the middle of the night like I don't see how we extricate ourselves from this until a vaccine arrives. And then okay. And oh god, it was another tweet that Trudeau just put out that said more. Let me just not misphrase it because I don't want to be accused of misphrasing. With more Canadians turning to food banks and community organizations to feed their families, with fewer food donations coming in, these organizations need help. So we're investing $100 million to make sure they can keep helping. You know why more Canadians are turning to food banks and community organizations to feed their families? Possibly because they've all just been put out of work. Maybe. I'm no economist. I'm no politician. And I'm no freaking PhD. But maybe more Canadians are turning to food banks because they were literally, within the span of a month, put out of business, put out of work. And then you discuss whether or not, and it's not to undermine, we're at, what are we at? 196 fatalities from the virus in Canada. 12,000 confirmed cases. We're talking about whether or not the cure is more poisonous than the illness. Did I ever get Proper 12? Kilo Wolf. So I actually did get 2 bottles of Proper 12 in Vegas last year when I was there for the GoPro event. It's very good. Hands down better than Jameson. Not to start any rivalries between the Scots and the Irish, but it's better than Jameson. Jameson is good. Proper 12 was great. One day we are going to look back at this time and laugh at how stupid we were. So, I mean, I'll formalize my, call it a prediction, maybe call it a hope. And I'm not even sure how smart it has to. First of all, Kim Wolf, thank you very much. Keela Wolf, thank you very much for the super chat. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Uncivil law. Let us drink on stream together until the pain stops. I don't have a drink. Tonight. It's terrible. That's how angry I was when I started this. And then we got Joe's Meat says the problem is too much deference on policy proposals on experts outside of their narrow field of expertise. This is why technocracy doesn't work. It's even maybe even worse than that. Actually, let me just get to this super chat. Not knowing who to believe can be really entertaining until something like this happens. Yeah, well, the experts. There is an industry to it. It's not rocket science, and it's not conspiracy theory. There's an industry to experts, and whoever gets their 15 minutes of fame, it's pop music, it's cinema, it's that which captures the attention for the longest period of time that gets them the most limelight, and typically it's not the most reasonable, level-headed estimates. And so, and there's no penalty for being wrong. That's the other wonderful thing about it. There's no penalty for being wrong. And there's no penalty for wrong. It's like the only entities that don't get penalized for being wrong are experts because there's no consequences, and government because when they're wrong, they get to expand their powers anyhow to compensate for their wrongness. It's like, oh, I look a little tired. It's the fractal wrongness. It's like the more wrong you are, the more you get to expand your powers. And then the flip side is the more wrong you are, the more you get to tout it as being because of the measures you implemented, which is why, I have this argument with a friend. We're like, okay, you make predictions. When they don't come true, it's never going to be because you're wrong. It's going to be because what we did was effective or what we did was ineffective, but we'll never know because we can't live in alternate universes where the alternate reality plays out without the draconian, life-altering measures that were implemented, which may very well have not had any effect at all, or may have had some effect. Who knows? Chance Risker says, I like the fire, but always look to the community outreach we've seen. I like the fire, but always look to the community outreach we've seen. I think I understand that. I think. But no, we're gonna look back on this, and it's not gonna. We're not gonna look back on this with admiration or with I don't think we're going to look back on this with, what's the word I'm looking for? Thinking we did the right thing and thinking that the response was measured. It's like it's going to be virtually impossible to look back on this and say that the response was measured, because even in real time, in 2-week hindsight, it's pretty easy to see what might have been a more measured response, which wouldn't necessarily have the disastrous effects of what we're going to see. I mean, nobody's going to equate it to the flu, period. Let's just say it's 10 times more fatal. I hear my wife. She might not know that I started a live stream. We take for granted it's worse. It's more serious. It has more serious effects, certainly on a certain demographic, and then even on the more resilient demographic. Okay. Do we think that there's not going to be casualties or consequences from 6 million people without a job? I mean, do we think that is that casualty free? And then I see some other people on Twitter who they may flip flop and they may sort of tweet one thing one day and one thing the next. But the reality is, policymakers have to say, okay, look, there's going to be a runoff, or there's going to be a spill off, or there's going to be an effect from this policy, and we have to measure those two effects. But you don't have to be living 5 years down the line to say, okay, this is what we were living with, was the measured response to put everyone out of work and to shut down the globe, as opposed to protecting the most vulnerable with the utmost of precautions, building up stockpiles, making sure we have the infrastructure to treat those who get the illness, but let those continue to work who are ready and willing, able to work. Let them continue to work to actually make the money that's going to be required to pay for the infrastructure that's going to be needed to treat the people who are going to need it. What was the other thing that I was thinking about? How about this? How about if people are too scared, and understandably so, offer them sick pay, offer them a discounted EI to not go to work because they're too scared. And I can understand it. I was neurotic before this. The irony is that I think I'm going to come out of this less neurotic than I was going into it, because at some point you get defiant to the neuroses. So, hey, you don't have to live through this to know that the measured response might have been, don't shut down the world, don't shut down the economy that you need to finance the infrastructure you're going to need. How about a measured response? Okay, sorry. That's part of the rant. Okay. What spurred this on? New info. Jennifer McDowell. No, Jennifer McDowell. I did an interview with Jennifer a while ago. Nothing spurred this on. Just 4 weeks in a house, and I'm the fortunate one in this. This is the irony. The irony is that, having given up law to some extent, I still have my 2 or 3 clients. Having given up the practice of law to some extent, although maintaining it, and doing this online thing, yeah, I'm going to be among the less affected of this. Although I'm going to be less affected because I'm sort of at a lower baseline, that my level of affectation is going to be a little less. But that's the irony, is I might be less susceptible to these massive swings, like siblings, friends, family members, acquaintances, people I know who were living at higher means than we were, and go from that to zero. Whereas I might have been living at 30% of that, and I go from 30% to maybe 25%, whatever. But the irony is, no, nothing spurred this on except for like sitting at home now, going on 4 weeks now. 4 weeks in Canada, 196 deaths, 12,000 cases, admittedly a much bigger, more sparsely populated country. But the question is, at some point you do have to ask the question, is the response worse than the issue? Is the cure more poisonous than the illness? And I've been thinking about it. I'm not even worried for myself. I'm just worried for friends and family. And I'm worried for nation. These are not things. If it goes on for much longer, these are not things that you can easily come back from. I think a month, maybe. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Okay, what is the law about homeschooling in Canada? If able, do you see homeschooling in the near future? I don't know what the law is on homeschooling. I know people do it. I mean, I've heard about it, but our homeschooling now. First of all, thank you very much, by the way, Jennifer and SCSW. Homeschooling. Yeah, what I was going to say is our kids are doing online classes through their school. It's fantastic. It is actually fantastic. Hey, some people might realize you don't need to spend $50,000 a year at Harvard. You can do it online very easily. You might have actually been. People like to say, not that the schools are bona fide babysitters, but people might realize that you don't need schools as much as, or you don't need those types of infrastructures as much as you thought you might have. No, but our kids are, so 2 of the 3 kids are doing, online schooling from 8:30 to 3:30 with an hour break for lunch and an hour pause and whatever. It's great. The other one, the third one, is a young kid and he's not doing anything. And man, there's only so many times you can watch Austin Powers in one day. Okay, the law on homeschooling, got that. I'm going to try to get some questions that are not super chats. Uncivil law in the house. No drink on your hand. You're sure you're a lawyer? I was looking for the battery for the computer more haste, with greater intensity than a drink. But now you're making me really want to run up and get one. Maybe in a bit. I'll see if I can do this. Where was I? Okay, no drink. Then we're going to go down here. Tommy Stewart says, not that I want you to feel bad, but it makes me feel better that you feeling this way too, because I honestly feel like I'm going crazy sometimes. You're going crazy. We're watching one wrong decision after another. And I say this in hindsight. First of all, I'm going to get to the optimistic part of this afterwards. The wrong decision after another, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know 2 months ago, stop incoming flights. Okay, fine. Not necessarily globally, but although you could go there. You don't need to, okay, no, but no, you don't do what would be the reasonable thing at the time for whatever the reason. I don't want to there's nothing political about this. I'm not going to go into the politics. You don't do the obvious when the opportunity is there. And then you have to, and then because it's like parenting to some extent. I'm thinking of my parents with me. It's like they don't do what they should do at a given point, and then the overreaction has to be so drastic that you don't know why they're screaming at you so much, because what you did to get the overreaction was not as serious as the things you had done earlier, where they could have just, stopped it right then and there, but they didn't. And so the overreaction is so disproportionate. We can't interprovincial travel in Canada. Sorry. Okay. We can't there's restrictions. There are blockades in between provinces. And it's not to harp on the absence of numbers in Canada, because who knows? Maybe the absence of numbers in Canada are because of all of this. Maybe. We'll never know, because we never get to live that alternate universe. But we'll never know. But we can't travel interprovincially in our own nation now. And so instead of shutting off flights 2 months ago internationally, now we are interprovincially restricted in terms of travel. That makes sense. Who the hell does that make sense to? Ooh, okay, I'm gonna calm down. Supposed to be happy. I'm a nice, happy person. I'm a good boy. Hold on. Jason Verheck. Wait until it hits countries with 2 beds per 1,000, a caste system, of malnutrition, not good. This is another thing. Do we need to wait for a Schmendrick? I feel like, do we need to wait for this to realize that maybe 2.8 beds per 1,000 is not necessarily adequate? 2.8 in Canada, 2.5 per 1,000 in the States. Apparently in South Korea, it's 12 beds per 1,000, which is why South Korea was able to deal with this so much better than other nations. Do we need to wait for that? This is like, we need to actually have the engine in the red before we realize that we should have been putting oil in the engine. I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now, I think I missed something here, but it's hey, if we don't learn, we'll get to the right lessons and the wrong lessons. We're going to learn from all this in a second. This is going to be my biggest, angriest rant ever. I'm shaking the table. I filed a federal lawsuit against 9 government defendants yesterday over the stay-at-home orders. Would you be interested in seeing it? No, not because I'm not. First of all, thank you very much, B. Pilani, for the super chat. No, not because I'm disinterested. I don't like commenting on pending proceedings. If you don't have an attorney, you should have one. If you do have one, don't ask for the opinion of another attorney. It does a disservice to your current attorney. And dude, you can file a lawsuit. So I don't know where courts are sitting to hear this. So I mean, I guess filing it is the first step, but I don't know what jurisdiction you're in. But no, if you don't have an attorney, get an attorney. If you have an attorney, don't ask for the opinion of another attorney, because it's a disservice to your attorneys. And I don't comment on vlogs. I try not to on pending stuff, because I don't want to. First of all, I don't want to interact with the people who are involved in it, because I don't want to become a party. I'd rather just be the observer. Incidentally, which is why I'm not yet going for a live stream chat with Keemstar or Sargon, or until the lawsuits are over, where we can have the discussion. I try not to get involved or even be a player. Testing in masks like Taiwan and get back to work. Gender neutral. I see what you did with your name there. Not bad. And your avatar. Yeah, make America great again. Okay, I thought there was something else on the hat. Yeah, there's people who are ready and willing and able to go to work and to stay at work. And it's in the essential services, they're amazing. People going to work now, they're amazing. There are many people who would go to work, and they don't have to go to work and then go visit their grandparents. It's like there are ways of mitigating the risks without exacerbating others. And it's like, I feel like I'm there's something innovative in suggesting this. Like, hey, surely you have the politicians and the best and the brightest in the world listening to the best experts in the world. Surely someone must have thought of something better than shut down the country and restrict interprovincial and intermunicipal and interborough travel. Lock people. It's 4 weeks. I'm not going crazy because it's been 4 weeks. I don't do very much on a regular basis. This just gives me a good excuse to like not shake people's hands, which I never did in the first place. But it's like, am I the smartest or the stupidest person on earth to think of these things? Okay. Let's see what it says. If we don't quarantine effectively for the next 6 to 8 months, 5% of the people who will get the disease will die. That's 1.2 million in Canada. Where do you see that from? I mean, this is another thing. The endless battle of conflicting information. I've never seen anything of 5%. I've seen 1%, and I've seen that might be even more than what it is, maybe 0.4%, which means, and it is a numbers game. True. Do you think a society is going to function like this for 6 to 8 months? I don't agree with the 5%, but I don't know better. And we see numbers throwing around with no referencing or anything. I've never seen 5%. I've seen maximum 1% mortality, and I think it's more like 0.4, which is still 4 or 5 times more than the standard flu. But who pays for nurses? Who pays for police? Who pays for this stuff? A country can print money, and then it becomes worth toilet paper, which incidentally might be worth more than the money. So I don't mean to get mad at you. And just like, I don't know where the numbers come from. You get just endless conflicting information. Let me just see something here. Okay, so that's the federal lawsuit, gender neutral. I want to make sure I get to all the super chats because not to prioritize them, but because I very much appreciate of anybody who supports this channel while we do this. Now I know that I missed some. Okay, hold on. I know that I missed a few. All Metal Mike says, you're upset because you're using logic. You are using logic in a situation that is driven by emotion. It's panic. It's panic reflexes. And that's the thing about panic is it always makes for the worst decisions because there is no perspective to panic. You're enveloped by the panic. And then the other thing is it's panic that feeds off panic. And it becomes like almost like this, like, I don't say like competition. But it becomes like who can be the most prudent? It's now a competition to see who can enact the most prudent measures of security. Today, and I support our CAC. I support Coalition Avenir Québec. I support our government, and I'm very happy with the way Legault is doing it. That said, today he comes out with a statement that says one death is one death too many. The threshold for pandemic now, if it's gone down to one death is one death too many, the threshold for paralyzing a nation and indebting and compromising a generation and all of that's going to entail, if the threshold now is that one death is one death too many, we may have policy disagreements. Xomthud says, our quandary is the flattening of the curve strategy puts us on a path we cannot get off until a vaccine arrives. We can't stop current measures until all people are exposed or the curve shoots up. Yeah, or until we find out that everybody has it, or that we find out by 2 or 3 months from now, everybody has pretty much already been exposed. Because if it has been this super contagious virus that everybody says it is, and it's been around since January, we're in April. If one person infects 50 and it's been around for 3 months, chances are a lot of people that have not been tested positive have already been exposed to it. And I suspect, just making random predictions, I suspect we might find this out in a month or two. Okay, let me see here what we got here. All Metal Mike, I saw that. Sorry, I'm going to just go down here. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I just saw this. I don't know why this caught my eye. Viva Frei, I know you are spinning like me. I worry about my kids. I shut off my news. I've kept my family side. I have a garden growing. You need a garden. We have a little garden. The dog's piss and crap in it, and one kid steps on the beautiful flowers. No, we're doing fine. It's just like we're doing fine. I'm not worried. I'm worried about the people who are not going to be doing fine, and not doing fine, and like in a meaningful sense. If we don't get our wits about us and say, at some point, people are going to have to take a risk. And it's not like a risk of running through a minefield. It's a risk that the abled, those who are most likely to have no long-term impact from this are the ones who are going to, we'll go to work. I'm neurotic to the bone. I'll go to work. I'll run out there. I have no problem with this. And at some point, people are going to be willing to do it, because the flip side is, it's great. You'll save some people now. What do you think what effect is this going to have on life expectancy, on lives? Oh, am I in trouble? I have been told to stay calm. Okay, Vaso. I lobby in DC against pharma. 75% of media is funded by them. This was designed for their mass vaccine program during a House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee hearing last year. They referred to vax mandates in order to travel and during a pandemic. First of all, Vaso, thank you very much for the super chat. I neither affirm nor deny nor comment on it. It's not the first time I've heard something along these lines. It's not going to be the first time. It's not going to be the last time. Yeah, you're not the only person thinking that. You're not the only person floating that idea or who has had that idea. It's because something big is going to happen, Big Mama. You look like Jennifer Tilly a little bit in that avatar, at least. So what bigger can happen than this? I mean, yeah, I've had my ideas as to how much bigger things can get, like where this can go or where it likely will go. This is the thing which someone with whom I've discussed also, says you have to not compartmentalize, but you have to categorize your thoughts in terms of likelihood, unlikelihood, irrational fear, rational fear. You have to assess each one of the tangents of your thought process. I've gotten very good at it, so I know when it goes off on an irrational. I don't want to say hyperbolic. That's not the word. An irrational, excessive tangent. I know when it goes from there. Like fearing food supplies gets toward that section. The more likely, massive unemployment, a generation in debt, and rebuilding. More likely, but even that is a little exaggerated. And then I know where the most likely outcomes are going to be. But yeah, we'll see. Look, the other thing is, it's painful. I know where this is going in my own head, in my own predictions. It's painful to have to live through it in the meantime, because we're going to get there, and we're probably going to get there despite the fractal wrongness. And we're going to get there. Oh, I think I missed a couple of super chats, and I'm sorry if I did, because I can't. They scroll down and I can't get to them. We're probably going to get to the same place with the mistakes or with the right decisions. But then the problem is people are going to think that their mistakes were the right decisions, and then it's going to empower them for the next time. I just woke up. Time has little meaning. Okay, let me remind you. I'm super new to the chat. I'm worried because they're sounding kind of hysterical. All stay cool. Everything 4004. First of all, thank you very much for the super chat. I know that I missed somebody. I think it was Be the Change. The numbers of the people in hospitals is such a small number of those who actually have it, greatly reducing the number of fatalities, 0.1 of a couple. So first of all, Be the Change. Thank you very much for the super chat. I'm sorry I can't bring it up. I see it, but I can't get back to the original chat. And I think you did too. That being said, look at the bigger picture. We are taking advice from experts, which there is no way for an individual to prove either. Be the Change. Thank you very much for the super chats. I'm sorry I missed them. I can't get back to that point to bring them up. Yeah, people are sounding hysterical. First of all, I hope you don't mean me. My wife said I might have been a little intense. Oh, that's good cracking. No, it's just you have to live through it. Like it's like when you're watching the Super Bowl and it's a close game, and then you realize that regardless of who wins or who loses, the game has already been won or lost. You just have to get to the end of the game to find out. And I know, I in my mind, in my heart of hearts, I know where this is going to go. We just have to get there, and it's going to go. I'll tell you where in a second. But hold on, what was I thinking? Someone said something that I had to remind myself of. Ronan Shanley. We're dealing with high stakes statistics here. Statistics are incredibly hard to get right, and even harder to validate. This feeds misinformation. And first of all, thank you very much, Ronan. They're hard to get. They're hard to predict. They constantly fluctuate, and yet you have massive, crippling policy based on these projections, which are based on imperfect stats, which are constantly fluctuating, which they're not the same from one day to the next. And you walk through all of the mutually exclusive directives coming out of one and the same entity. The WHO saying it's not communicable human to human. Oh, it's communicable human to human, but it's not contagious. Oh, it is contagious, but you don't need a face mask. Oh, but you need a fat. It's like trying to catch a falling knife. And you have these experts who are just saying, you have Vox one day saying, nah, don't worry about the my Sharona Cyrus, worry about the flu. 1 month later saying, oh, no, now you got to worry about that. Typically, when you're wrong and you've discredited yourself, you don't get to rely on that authority to give future directives, typically, in a merit-based system, in a meritocracy. In a way, I almost feel like we are living through an idiocracy. And I just watched that movie the other day again. I'm going to watch it with my kids again. It's just freaking awesome. Roman, thank you, by the way. Okay, now I saw some more coming in here. Hold on, I saw someone say, Viva, you missed my chat, bro. Which one? Thomas Coulshane. Sorry, if I did. Okay, now I see it here. Thomas, don't do a super chat again. Just tell me what it was, and I'm going to get to it in the bottom. Okay, sorry. Modica insanus, or ins anus. I agree with you. Shutting down the world seems a bit extreme. What about the mental health of those who lose work? Seems that is being overlooked. Mental health. First of all, thank you very much, Monica. Mental health of losing work, mental health of being locked up inside, fear, anxiety, phobia, people who are not getting elective surgeries, people who are not going to their doctors to get treatments for non-critical illnesses that are going to shorten their lifespan. I mean, it's not a blank trade-off. There's a trade-off to be made here, and there's a trade-off that is being made here. And it's like it's not being calculated. If anybody sees Thomas's super chat question that I missed, I just paid $4.99. Viva, my chat was missed. Tell me what it was, Thomas. I don't see it. Okay, Thomas, say it again. I'm going to get to it. And uncivil law, now that I know that you're here, and if you see it, show me what that super chat was. Be the change. The number of people in the hospitals is much smaller than those who actually, okay, that I got to. We did that one. No, you didn't. Okay, I'm back. Okay, who are the most pieces of the CCP? The CCP, everybody can hear me, right? Like I just went black for a second. Catching a falling knife. I did that a few weeks ago. So hold on. Who did I miss? Because I know that I missed somebody. Hold on. Jason McConnell says, in World War II, Canada fielded 1 million men of a population of 10 million. Losing them was a risk worth taking to protect our freedoms and rights. Now we've lost 196 people, and it's bye-bye rights and freedoms. Jason, thank you very much for the super chat. What more can you say? We can no longer travel in our own country, let alone the world. DGP Holly hand grenade. This is pure panic and grandstanding due to lack of solid and, more importantly, competent leadership. It's global, though. It's not. I'm not blaming Trudeau. I'm not blaming Trump. It's global. Thank you very much, by the way. It's just global panic. And then the thing is, nobody can. Once it becomes a global consensus, nobody can deny it. Nobody can go against it. Thomas Coulshane, I missed your super chat. Somebody get Thomas's question to the bottom. I'm going to get it right now. And I'm sorry for missing it. Ain Mark says, Viva, how many people do you think are dying with corona, but not necessarily from corona? In the stats, seeing a lot of complicated stories. Stats. Ian, thank you very much for the super chat. And it's a question. So somebody in the chat from the other day said his from Italy said the grandmother died. I don't even want to spread this information because I'm not sure. I have no doubt some. I've had one person from Italy say their grandmother died of cancer, 90 some odd years old, with corona, the virus. And the died of cancer, but the death certificate said blank. I don't know. But I don't want to be propagating the information one way or the other because I don't know. Did we get Coulshane's question yet? We got that. Okay, I think I'm missing something here. I need a moderator. Why don't I have a moderator? Xomfood says current political climate is toxic and counterproductive to rational policy making. No one wants blame for death from COVID, yet all want to be heroes. 100%. And that, I mean, that's the bottom line is nobody's it once the tide comes in, nobody's fighting against the tide. To heck with someone tell Dr. Fucci about Brondo. it's got the stuff plans grave. Can we get Tom Coulshane's question in the bottom so that I don't feel bad and I can still sleep when this is over? Will the entire planet shut down during pandemics moving forward? Will the lessons be learned to prevent this from happening again? Keep that question up there. That's the question. I can read all the comments, Melvin. The problem is I just need to get to Thomas Coulchain's question. What's going to be the standard going forward now? Bearing in mind, the numbers as of now for this are less than the H1N1. They're less than, I don't know what I know they're less than the H1N1 by a long shot. And we had nothing like this in the H1N1. And now does this become the standard? And it's not to undermine the numbers. And there's no but. It's not to undermine the numbers. The question is going to be now 35,000 globally, 6,000 US, 200 Canada. Is this going to be the new standard now when we start seeing, is this going to be the standard for the flu going forward? I mean, that's the real question. Who says Taiwan is China? Who says China has no new cases, but Taiwan reported new cases? What, Jonathan Farr? Who knows who to believe now? Who? No pun intended. Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna sleep well until I get Coulchain's question here. Okay, so we got Jonathan Ferrier, and I saw one more here. Catastrophe says, please tell me you've seen Arrested Development and have read your Bob Law blog. Also watched Sargon's video from April 2nd. It made my icy heart warm. I'll give it a try. I haven't seen Sargon's video from the other day. And I have not seen Bob Lawblog's blog, but I've been told to watch it. Okay, I need a favor. I need Coulchain's super chat question in the bottom so that I can answer it, so that I don't feel bad for the rest of my life. Okay, we got that. Who says Taiwan there? We got that. To heck with hydrocarbon, we got that. In World War II, we got that. Coulchain, here we go. Don't worry, Viva. It's time to get more self-sufficient, traditional, and closer to God. Corona is a blessing in disguise. Bill Gates is behind this, and he's a weak level. Okay, possibly. I still need Coulchain's question. I need Coulchain's question. What are we going to learn from this? What's going to be the status quo going forward? Your YouTube financial page lists super chat in order. My YouTube. So hold on. If I go to the chat, maybe if I go to the stream, but it'll be a lot easier if someone just gives me Coulchain's question. What was Coulchain's question? Here we go. Is this it? Traditional and closer to God. No, I just saw that. Was that his? Hold on. Was that Coulchain's question? Oh, maybe that was Coulchain's question. I thought that was yours. Political foolishness. Okay, so you know what? Now I've ranted like a lunatic for a long time. Hold on. I missed someone else's chat. You missed my chat. Mitch Sampson, what was your chat? Okay, so if that was Coulchain's question, and I hope it was. Let me see if my wife can send me the Coulchain's question. Don't worry if you... Oh, Coulchain said... No. What's she said? My wife sent me a screenshot, but I don't see Coulchain's question, but I do look crazy. I missed his chat. What was Mitch's chat? What was Mitch's chat? Bring it. Show me the Mitch's chat. I hope I got Coulchain's. What are we going to learn from this? If we don't learn the right lessons, that was his question. Okay, my wife says that was the question. Coulchain, I got your question. Sorry. Now we need to get to Mitch Sampson's question. What was his question? Get some mods, my man. I'll be honest. I didn't think we were going to have 700 people here on a 5-minute advanced notice rant stream. I hope people can forgive me if I do miss some super chats, because I try. Hello, Mrs. Frei. She's watching. I thought she might have been asleep. Just read all of them. What are we going to learn from this? Okay, here's the deal. But this is what's going to happen. We're not going to go down the 1984 route where we're going to have to get... We're not going to give Viva alcohol. We're not going down the 1984 forced vaccination. I don't think this is beyond the point of no return. That was his question. Yes, that was his question. Okay, so I got everybody's question. Good. Mitch, if I didn't get your question, let me know again. There's a number of things we should learn that are valuable lessons from all of this. Maybe Marion should be the moderator. The first lesson is we should waste less, period. Like, it's ironic that it takes a schmandendik to say, like, yeah, we shouldn't throw out an apple because it's soft, or we shouldn't throw out spinach because it's a little old. Do something with it. Juice it, cook it, put it into soup, whatever. we shouldn't throw out chicken bones, make soup with them. Like these are first world things that we shouldn't necessarily have to learn, but they're valuable. They're valuable lessons. Okay, waste less, period. Ian Max says, another $2. You now owe me 7/10 of a shoe. Thank you, Ian. I just hope I got to Mitch's question. If I didn't get to Mitch's question, let me know. Don't freak out when the internet goes down for 3 to 10 days. It's not going down. It's not going down. Jonathan Ferry says, why are so many people here? We can't go out. Yeah, well, it's fantastic. I mean, it's great to have the discussion. It feels a little good to vent. Waste less. Okay, fine. Waste less food. It's a terrible thing to waste food. I've always said it's a sin to waste food. And it has always bothered me before the Manstrandic, whatever. The other thing, mandemic. I like it. A mandemic. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Thank you, Catastrophe. The other thing, if we are not self-sufficient for essential items, food, medical supplies, and necessary products, we're not a free country, period. And I hope to God that this is the wake-up call that we should be less dependent on foreign countries, hostile or friendly, for essential necessary supplies and raw materials. Hope to God, if we don't learn that, we don't deserve to. We don't deserve to be free. Ammon Cosby, New Zealand, $10. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, by the way, Ammon. If we haven't learned that, that's a problem. Tony Niev says, now your wife won't be sleeping when the Russian bots could be here. The Russian bots have yet to come. Don't jinx it, man. Come on. We haven't seen the sex bots in a long time. Okay, so we need to be autonomous for certain supplies, essential supplies. What was the other thing? We should pay more and buy less. Period. And the wonderful thing is, I'm going to sound like a nationalist. We should. This is going to be. I say hopefully that's a judgmental qualification. This might be the wake-up call to end the globalist idea. The globalism is like open borders. It's all nice. It's all fine and well when things go well. And then you see what happens in a mandemic. Mitch's comment. Oh, she's good. Now you're what? Mitch's comment was, sacrificing the economic future of younger generations for the elderly and sick isn't worth it. How much longer before people disobey lockdowns? Okay, Mitch, I have the best life partner, best friend on earth. Mitch, it's not worth it is not necessarily the right. It's not the way to frame it, but there are policy decisions. There are policy decisions that come with these things. When are people going to defy the lockdowns in Canada? I don't think people are going to defy the lockdowns. I mean, Canada is. I think they're not going to defy the lockdowns for a couple of reasons. First of all, in the States, they might be less inclined to. First of all, Mitch, sorry, I didn't get to your super chat, but that was the question I've got to now. In Canada, I think they're going to be less inclined to defy the lockdowns as opposed to the U.S. because, for the First Amendment reasons, without having the stream go down. I think it would be much tougher to deprive Americans of their fundamental rights, given their fundamental right of the First Amendment, than it would be for Canadians. We're very easy to pacify. But forget that. Let's just say we do abide by the lockdown quarantines. Okay, there's going to be an impact to that, and it's going to have an impact, and it's going to have a cost. I can tell you, I've seen gray hairs on my siblings, more in the last month than I've seen in the last decade. Expert or shills 1 in 9. Who advises against the application of any travel or trade restrictions on China based on the information currently? Randy, thank you for the super chat. But yeah, and also it's racist to identify the origins of the virus with a nation. It's racist to talk about flight restrictions. It hasn't aged well. But there was a video from Italy about hugging your neighbors to show how this is not going to be racist and divide us. For God's sake, I don't hug people. I didn't shake people's hands before. I did the elbow bump before any of this. I had chafed. They're not so bad. They're pretty bad. I had chafed hands before this. Like I never. Ugh. I was thinking about it today. I was walking on the street. One of my greatest terrors in life is stepping in vomit on the street. Like especially on Montreal, St. Catherine Street. It's the bar street. There's always barf all over the sidewalks. Not all over. There's barf all over the sidewalks, but it's like. It makes me puke. It makes me want to like it stops me from breathing. And it literally, because when I see the vomit, I don't want to inhale the vapors, upwind, downwind, whatever. So I was always like this. But where was I going with that crazy thought? I forget. Rainey, do you think there is anything to claim that the bioweapons facility in Wuhan had something to do with this? Long live the penny. Thank you very much. Pennies are useless in Canada. So that class action lawsuit against China had an interesting allegation in it. And if you haven't seen my vlog on the subject, check it out. But the class action lawsuit against China alleged that the bioweapon facilities in Wuhan would sell their carcasses of their test animals to the wet market across the street where the virus was alleged to have originated. It's an amazing, it is a, what's the word? Salacious allegation. It has to be proven. It's an interesting allegation. Like, my wife works in research. They work with tadpoles. I don't know nobody's going to eat the tadpoles, but I could imagine in certain parts of the world where you don't want to waste stuff, and there's a black market or a gray market. Yeah, here's some carcasses. Enjoy them. But it's an interesting allegation. I have no knowledge of it. It's just when I read that allegation in the lawsuit, I was like, yeah, if you can prove that, whether or not it would create the causal link in law that's required, it's nonetheless a very interesting factual thing to know. Dana White. Oh, Dana Whitaker. I thought Dana White was in the house. Dan Whitaker. Where can we get accurate information without spin? Who knows? I've been disappointed in that on Twitter. I see people who I rely on I don't want anyone. I've seen people who I rely on for opposition information posting stuff like, "Cripe, dude, if you haven't vetted that particular video, don't post it with the link saying that it proves what you think it proves if you haven't personally vetted that, and which you haven't." And then it's just people retweet and they retweet whatever. And where can you go? I don't know. You have to get it all. You have to see what looks like spin. You have to see what looks like garbage. You have to see what looks like lies, and you have to see what looks honest. And then you have to just piece it together in as much as you can. But if you dare defy the experts, then you're a heathen. What's the word? What's the word? Heathen. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about, like a religious rebellion. Thank you very much, Dan, for the super chat. And we got Mark Slayer. Perhaps C19 is part of one of a greater threat lurking out there. The cost of the cure may well be worth the damage. Well, so the interesting thing about it, and I was looking into this today, is that some people are purportedly on their way to potentially finding a vaccine, and the reason why is that they started looking into this SARS-CoV virus back in the previous one in 2004. So because it's in the similar family, it responds to some similar, what do they call them? Protein spikes. Either way, it sort of behaves like the same family member viruses that we've had in the past. So there's sort of like legwork already been done in terms of finding a vaccine. Yeah. But the flip side is, does global lockdown become the new norm every year when there's a spike or an apparent spike, because there has yet to be in deaths from a virus? Oh, we were not yet on the lessons to be learned from all of this. Self-sufficient, nationalist, reliant on your own country and reliant on your own community. And forget, it's smaller than country, even community. And it will create it's not a question of creating communism, because everybody's suggesting this is like the first taste of socialism. This creates a sense of community in the sense that, first of all, don't take more than what you need in a time of need, and make sure everybody has what they need in a time of need. But above all, support your local farmers, buy local before you buy from elsewhere. And it's not a question of it being more valuable, but you keep your dollar at home, and it goes further. And it creates community, and it creates autonomy. And it doesn't create reliance on a nation that might not be friendly with you the next day. And this whole globalist idea is like, it's nice. We have a global community. We have the WHO. I was in high school. We had student governments. There was politics in student high school government. There's no politics in the WHO. Sorry. Getting excited again. Jason McConnell says, I once got Nethers electrocuted by a lady in latex wielding a low-voltage cattle prod on St. Catharines. All in all, I wouldn't recommend it, but still beats vacationing in Toronto. Now, St. Catharines, Ontario, or St. Catherine Street in Montreal? And dude, that sounds like one hell of a night out. You might have been the one who vomited on the sidewalk. I'm joking. Jason, that's one heck of a story. Maybe a subject for another stream. Thank you for the super chat. 250,000 Americans and Canadians lost $50 billion in Chinese stock for the last 10 years. Movie The China Hustle. I might watch it. The only problem is we have to watch movies that the kids like. Tonight we watched... What did we watch tonight? Marion, if you're watching, what movie did we just watch with the kids? We just watched a movie with the kids. She'll tell me. She'll text me in a second. Malaki O'Leary says, thank you for all the info you provide. Long live the Toonie. Thank you. SW Wash. What movie did we watch tonight? Marion, I know you're watching. What movie did we just watch with the kids? Oh, Semi-Pro. Was no better now than it was when I first saw it in 2008. Okay, let's see here. Talk is cheap. I will believe it when I see it. We have been going downhill for a while. Okay, so that's part of a conversation that I'm not a party to. Trying to get some other comments that are not strictly super chats up here so that we can talk about them. The goal is already accomplished. United Nations, the 1% elites, and the politicians want a one-world government. The population is scared, and they will give their rights and their rights to freedoms. So I don't think we're going there. I do think. Let me just. So I put my prediction out there formally. I don't think the numbers are ever going to get to where anybody predicted. Period. They're already not where they were predicted to be a month ago. They're not going to get to where everybody predicted they were going to be. What's going to happen, unfortunately or fortunately, is that people are going to say it's because of the policies we implemented. I suspect the more time that goes by, the more accurate data we will have on that, to the extent that anybody ever believes whatever data comes out later. But the numbers are not going to get to where they are sooner than later. People are going to insist on going back to work. Nations are going to feel compelled to allow their citizenry to get back to work so they can maintain the economy. There will be damage, but not irreparable. It will come back relatively quickly. And the only question is going to be, who are the holdouts to say, we have to wait another month. Wait another month, wait another month, wait another 2 weeks, because, the graphs say this is where it's going to be in 2 weeks or a month. And we're going to come out of this having learned a few lessons. Maybe we don't need to buy so much crap from China. And maybe we don't need to buy so much crap from India. And maybe we don't need to buy so much cheap crap to begin with. And maybe we're better off having 2 pairs of jeans instead of 5 pairs. I say that. No, I'm wearing a good pair of jeans right now. Just so everybody knows I'm actually wearing jeans. I'm wearing pants. Maybe you're better off having 2 pairs of well-made, locally made jeans as opposed to 5 pairs of cheap jeans made, elsewhere. Keep your money at home. Support your local business, support your local communities, and maybe that's going to be good. What did my wife say? I think you missed. She says, I think I missed something. DP, Holly Hand Grenade. There's people here in Arizona that there isn't a strict lockdown. 1,700 cases, 40 deaths out of 6.5 million. More upsetting than actual lockdowns. Did I miss super chats? Wait. I think I did. Oh, Jason. Oh, I think I did. Okay. I once got, okay, so I got that. Okay, we got that. As a statistician, finding and confirming data is enormously time-consuming. Spend decades doing so on climate change. Can't even start on COVID-19. And yet, the data comes in. Within 2 weeks, they're implementing crippling policy that lasts for 2 months. Let me just see. I believe I missed something. Damn it. Okay, I may need a moderator. If you heard my stomach growl, that's because it's making noise. We got Jennifer says, Patrick, your wife wants to conceive baby Paul. Okay, interesting. And then let me see here. So DP, Holly Hand Grenade. So there's people in Arizona. And then we got Amin Kabi, pre-flight health check from New Zealand. So here we go. Let's just see if we can get those. Some super chats that I missed. Sorry. What was the one with the New Zealand says pre-flight health check? Well, that I can appreciate also. Okay, health check. It does make it. I read an article which traumatized me, but I was already traumatized before. Sorry, let me just get this out. Was somebody who got on a plane with some sort of flesh-eating virus or flesh-eating bacteria, died on the plane, and everybody said that the person smelled so bad while on the plane that other people were vomiting and gagging. But yeah, whenever I go flying, I put polysporin up my nose, even though I'm not sure if it actually does anything. Pre-flight health checks kind of make sense. Pre-flight health checks before getting on a cruise ship, the floating petri dishes kind of make sense. But the more grand scheme, I don't want to say conspiracies because I'm not trying to undermine them, but the more grand scheme plots, they're fun to imagine. They can never be proven or disproven until they come true. And then even if they come true, it might have just been a total coincidence. Just wondering if you practice family law and your thoughts on my ex-wife wanting to change our divorce agreements in the States. I never did family law. I studied it. Never did it because it's too hard on the heart. So no comment, but thank you for the super chat. I wouldn't give you a comment anyhow because that would be considered legal advice, which I don't give on the YouTube. Let's see. Okay, we got C-Toss Trivia says GSP versus Celine. Either fight or best from Quebec. Okay, no, Marion, I got those super chats. I got them. I think I got them. Okay. GSP versus Celine would be hilarious. But it would have to be a sing-off. It couldn't be a fight. Okay. If I missed anybody's chat, someone let me know in the comment section. So more lessons. Consume less. And waste. Just buy less crap. Buy less crap. Bonding times with kids. It's going to be fun. We've been making a good, barring 1 hour a day where everyone goes freaking nuts, like the kid screams to the point where he's throwing chairs and everybody 24 hours a day in the house for the last month is kind of intense. But this is going to be a bonding experience. But my goodness, people have better get their wits about them sooner than later and assess the actual risk versus the exaggerated risk versus the doomsday fears, and it's no longer being a question of trying to prove who can implement the most draconian safety measures to protect from a risk where the protection is going to cause more harm than the risk. Boz Bandula says, funny how this happens right as the world was going anti-globalist, conservatives winning, yellow vests, Hong Kong, etc., all squashed. Imagine. It's the timing is you'll always be able to draw connections between the timing, but yeah, there's no question, especially as far as Trump's presidency goes, timing of this is what it is. First of all, Boz, thank you very much for the super chat. David Eastham, thank you very much for the super chat. No question. I don't want to miss anything here. I know I saw some other colored sections. Here we go. Tom Coolshane, Salamander. Reading the research paper helps on the information front. Problem is not everyone can get past paywalls and university membership. So my wife has been doing it. She's a neuroscientist postdoc. She's been reading up on it to at least understand the consensus. It's good. She's got like the 1 millimeter level understanding. I've got the 30,000 foot overview, and I've also just got my broad perspective view of it, which I don't think will change with details. Thomas Colshane, Viva was the type of kid in school with a bottle of off spray and hand sanitizer in his locker. Not off spray because off spray has DEET in it, and DEET causes cancer, and everybody knows that. So I never used bug spray because I was always concerned about the DEET causing cancer. But hand sanitizer, yeah, and I still believe that a little gargle of gin or vodka or whiskey does some tricks also. Thomas, thank you very much, by the way, for the super chat. And sorry I missed your other one. I did get to it. Better late than never. Yeah, no, but off. No, I DEET was poison. I never used it, DEET. And then the thing is, I'm convinced you build up an immunity to mosquito bites through getting bitten. Okay, what else we got here? We got Infinity Tech says, just want to say thanks for your videos. Thank you very much. This was fun. 700 people. This is great. I was walking the dog. I'm thinking like, I need to vent. I do feel a little better. We'll see if I sleep well. Jonathan Ferrier says, I will evangelize the darn tough Vermont socks USA. There's nothing like this. There are good products to buy local, like great stuff. I just hope Tommy John is actually made somewhere. I like Tommy John. It's not a plug or anything. I actually just, although I've worn through their underwear to the point where now I'm using Calvin Klein, but I don't like it as much as the Tommy John. Infinity Tech. I saw this. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, by the way. We got John Hannick says Pelosi Schumer to investigate, good or bad idea. It's a terrible idea. And this is not political. This is not a political commentary. The impression of politicizing and capitalizing off a mandemic, it turns my stomach to the point where I'm getting a little irritated with people railing on Trudeau for his reaction. All in all, I definitely don't agree with everything he's doing. And it's very easy to sit back and say what he could have done a month ago. But I will not vocally, unless I believe it's very much productive, I will not vocally just trash on him for the sake of trashing on him. And I'm not going to politicize the pandemic to make him look bad. All in all, he could do better, he could do worse. But the U.S. politics was nasty before this, and I don't suspect it's going to get less nasty. But politicizing this, it's going to turn people off, and it should, because it's gross. Thank you, Joe, for the super chat. Okay, what do we got here? Well, I skipped this. I saw one red. Okay, that was Joe. Then we saw a blue one here. David Eastham says, doing the elbow bump to me makes no sense if they tell you to cough into your elbow or arm. Well, you cough it here, and then in fairness, you go here. But also, in fairness, it doesn't last all that long, and it doesn't cling very well to fabric. And then you don't really, even if someone bumps you with their contaminated elbow, you don't get that in your face. Yeah, there's these, man, when I walk outside now, it's like lighting is a little intense here. But that's a very interesting point. You might be one step neuroses beyond me, because I hadn't even put that together. There was one more down here that I saw. DP Holly Hand Grenade says, correction, people in Arizona are upset that there's not a stricter order to lockdown. That's an amazing thing. There was a stat out of the UK that like 63% of the people wanted stricter measures. They wanted the military in the streets enforcing martial law to some extent, or like forced quarantine. So people react differently to tragedy. And look, I'm a freedom type person. There's that aspect of me that says, yeah, look, I want to make sure that I'm not going to get mugged or whatever. I want to make sure there's not going to be mayhem on the streets. I trust our military enough to enforce law and order. And until people can get back to work and earning a livelihood, maybe that's a trade-off. But man, that's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope where people are like saying, yeah, I want to sacrifice my liberties on this fear of this pandemic. Where does it end? And the other thing is, is the fear proportionate to the risk? That is always the question. That is going to be the main question. Jason McDonald. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Did you change your icon, your avatar? We will need to chip in and buy Viva a fishing pond for his yard. I just want to go fishing. I mean, I just want to go fishing. I want to go to the country, and I think I'm allowed to go. I just want to go fishing. I'll bring all my food. I will not go to a grocery store. I'll fill up with gas so I don't have to fill up there or back. Just want to go fishing, but I need to know that the lake is thawed out. So when we go, because there's no point in going now if the ice is going to be too thin or too unstable to ice fish, and really you have to wait until the water is out before the trout come up. Just want to fish. Anyhow, okay. Wrong. Sneeze, cough into a tissue, throw away. You know what else has been turning me off? The amount of rubber gloves and masks I'm seeing on the ground. I am not a police state person. I would very much support strong fines for people throwing face masks on the ground. I walk a freaking dog. When my dog comes, I haven't figured out a way to spray his face with alcohol yet, but when my dog sniffs, I don't even let him get there. But I see rubber gloves and face masks on the side of the road. No, that's not good. That's not right. Viva, the type of kid who would tell everyone there's a fight in school. No, I was the type of kid who would frequently be in the fight, but only when there was a good sense of justice there. Okay, we got a new member. Jerome Woodley became a YouTube member. Jerome, and if anybody doesn't know what members are, I think it's $5 a month. 30% goes to YouTube, something like that. But you get sneak peeks of the videos in as much as I can put out sneak peeks, like hour or a couple hours in ahead. Thank you very much. Welcome to the membership. Membership has only one privilege: sneak peeks, the occasional sneak peek. We got Furby Slayer says, Viva random proof. Viva never grew up. Kid at heart. No, I never want to grow up. The thing is, though, it gets a little crazy, I think, when people see a 40-year-old man with 3 kids. doing things on the street. Let me just get the lighting here. But, oh, Viva Random. Sorry, guys. I have a second channel, Viva Random. I've been putting up some funny stuff there. I mean, it's a diary because in a year from now, when we have all forgotten about the lockdown, I'm going to have a ton of videos about me slowly losing my mind in lockdown. Furby, thank you very much for the super chat. We got T.W. Mills. Who is the perfect example of what happens when an organization prioritizes diversity over competence? South Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan have all been able to control the virus without shutting down their economies. Wear a mask. There's no question. There are distinctions between. First of all, Hong Kong people don't necessarily believe the numbers. South Korea, there are distinct number differences between the number of beds in hospitals per citizens, and obedience to certain policies. Taiwan, I'm not sure about, but wearing a mask. Anybody who says wearing a mask doesn't do anything, they got to be treating you like next level idiots because it. Okay, first of all, by the way, thank you very much for the super chat, TW Mills. Buy a fishing game. No, that's the thing. I may have a bit of OCD. I can't get into certain types of games. They will just take too much of time. I can't do it. I know my limits. Joseph Morneau, Taterator. Oh, and then we got Boz Bundalo. You said it in one of the previous live streams. Tons of people already had this in January. I can't wait for them to release the antibodies test. That's another thing. Policies, if we're not learning. In Canada, they should be testing for people who have had. Ooh, my battery's going to go. Okay, this is the time to actually wind it down because my battery's going to go dead. That was the clock I had. Let me just see what my battery percent. 7%. Yeah, they should do the antibody test. See who had this in January, February, March. See and do some tests because if 10 times as many people have had this, it puts the numbers in perspective. But right now, you're only testing the current positives who are in the hospital. It's going to skew the numbers. Okay. I hope I didn't miss anybody. This was fun, people. Arthur Dunn says, as a Canadian, what are your thoughts about the U.S. stopping the export of masks to Canada to keep for ourselves? If the U.S. has more than they need, that's fine. But the U.S. is its own country, and it's not up to the U.S. to take care of Canada. It's up to Canada to take care of Canada. And if Trudeau is not looking at working collaboratively with Canadian companies, because I know there are some, I've seen them on Twitter. I forget the name of the company, but one said we can do it. We can put them out. Work with us. It's not up to the states to protect Canada, and I don't fault them for doing it. We should be autonomous, and we should be independent, and we should be looking out for ourselves. And if our government is not looking out for ourselves, and if the government's not looking out for us and relying instead on the states, that's an irresponsible government. Arthur, thank you very much for the super chat. Okay, my phone, my computer is going to go dead. It would be a great way to end the stream, but I do want to give a formal ending. But I don't want to miss. We have a new member, Boz Bundalo. New member, welcome. This is cool. Enjoy your content. Just thank you and a little support. Thank you very much, Mike. I want to make sure. Okay, that Mike is the last one I can see going up. Mike, thank you very much, seriously, for the super chat, and thank you for much of the support. I keep doing my best here. I'm just this. What's tough now is I don't want to do my Sharona Cyrus content day in and day out, but there's nothing new in the legal world. It's depressing. Jerome Woodley says, once the government takes power, they rarely give it back. Those who trade liberty for safety deserve neither. Ben Franklin. There's no question. That's my other major concern is what are going to be the lingering power grabs by government in the name of protecting the people. I mean, that's it. Okay. Will Ferguson, hold on. Did I get everything here? What was this one? Oh, no way. I just figured I can see all of the super chats going back here, at least for a while. Okay. I'm on StreamYard, so it's a little bit different on the top here. Will Ferris, thank you. I love your avatar. I want to know what it means. If you can tell me what it means. Jerome Woodley. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's do this before my computer goes dead. Will Ferris, thank you. Ferris, I like that name. Metallic. Okay, I think I feel a little better. Let's do this. Let's call it quits for the night. Will Ferris says, Taipei, Taiwan has the population density of New York, but Taiwan has only 350 cases countrywide, and it's right next to Red China. Did New York have? Well, there's no question New York did something wrong in terms of just the numbers don't lie in terms of comparative to other nations. but it's 8.8 million people on 11 square kilometers, and not many people are going to respect lockdown orders or quarantine orders in 2.5 studios where you need to take an elevator in a high rise to get to the ground to begin with. It's a different beast, New York, which is why it's also not, they call it the epicenter of the pandemic now. It's also not the most fairest comparison. It's 8.5 million people, 11 square kilometers, people living in buildings with 2,000 people in them. To get an elevator from top to bottom just to get your groceries, you're coming in contact with people, touching buttons, everything. It's just not the same. It's not the same game. Okay, people, let's do. What do I have in my battery? 5%. People, thank you very much. It was surprisingly fantastic. A lot of people came, and maybe Friday night is the best night to call an impromptu stream. I hope I didn't miss anybody's super chat. If I did, I apologize. I do my best. Oh gosh, my back is killing me. We got Ron Fuller says Viva and Lionel rock this medium. Yeah, so that's it. It's these are the thoughts, but we have to learn the right lessons from this. And if we don't learn the right lessons, it was all for naught. We're going to learn the right lessons. And I swear to you, if I have to run for office to make sure we implement the right lessons, I may do it, because at some point we have a beautiful country, and the states as well. There's no point having a beautiful country if we can't have the freedom to enjoy it. Period. You missed my super chat. Hold on. Who said that? You missed my super chat. David Johnson, quickly, before the battery goes dead. What was your super chat? David Johnson, get the comment in there, please. David Johnson, I'm looking for it. Jason McConnell. Who am I looking for? David Johnson. Okay, David, get the super chat there. Don't do another super chat. Just get the question in. But yeah, that's the bottom line. Is that we have a beautiful country, and we have a beautiful neighborhood. We have a beautiful community. Everything, it's amazing. But oh, you little bastard, you joking? It's a terrible joke. Can't play on someone's nerves like that. There's no point having it if we can't enjoy it. I want to go on a road trip this summer in Canada. I want to go to New Brunswick. I want to go to freaking Deer Island like we did last summer. I just want to go to the plains, Saskatchewan. I want to drive. I want to see this beautiful country, and it's not. That's it. If you don't have freedom, it's not clear what the purpose of anything else is. Okay, people, thank you very much. This was phenomenal. I'm going to try to get out a vlog tomorrow. I don't know what to talk about. Check out my Project Veritas vlog if you haven't seen it. I'd love to get an interview with O'Keefe. Actually, that'd be phenomenal. Hope he's not angry with me for my assessment. Maggie Smith, do guerrilla gardening plant where you are anonymous. Do guerrilla gardening plant. I don't know. I'll have to check. Okay. All right, people. That is it. We have 4% battery. I'm going to end it now. Thumb to the lens. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys on that. We're going to do another live stream sooner than later. I've got a bunch of people lined up for interesting streams. They just have to pan out. I want to get Antonio Park back when he's available. I have a bowling vlog, a bowling live stream, which I'm trying to get. I have a sub who has an interesting story. I'm trying to get Robert Barnes just to talk about the updates. Amazing Lucas, if you're watching, I'd love to do one with you again as well. But we're going to do more. It's going to be amazing. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and peace out.